to admit, I am shocked that I'm in agreement with Charlie Kirk on FISA. I can't believe he spoke out against FISA. I totally agree with him on that.
Well, there's
FISA.
Clueless.
I can't believe he spoke out against FISA.
She's clueless.
Well, there's grassroots left and grassroots right are beginning to agree on a bunch of things, including cutting funding to Israel, including taking care of American citizens.
Clueless.
Donors want all the time. We're both totally against corruption. We massively disagree on other issues. Okay, so fine, but at least we're beginning to...
Totally against corruption or corruption talking point? Are the people you're talking about, would they have a problem with corruption that serves them? I don't think so. It's almost as if Anna and Cenk don't know anything at all about politics. This is yet again another example of how awful independent media is, and no one else in independent media will tell you the truth about how bad independent media is, right? Because the independent media love to talk about mainstream media, their competitors, about how awful they are, right? They're satanic. Everything they say is wrong. They're so unprofessional. We're so much better, right? Yeah. Those of us that live in reality, we recognize all the problems with mainstream media, and there's a lot of problems with them. A lot of bad journalism, dishonesty, conflicts of interest in terms of the advertisers. TYT makes a lot of great points about how bad mainstream media is. However, they pretend as if independent media is somehow magically the solution. But the core problem with mainstream media is that it's profit-oriented, just like independent media. The problem is really the fact that you're running a business that in America is really largely about entertainment, because if you're not entertaining, people aren't watching. If they're not watching, you don't get the views, and therefore you don't get the money. So you find yourself down this hole of like trying to say things in a way that gets people, all emotionally reacting. That's what mainstream media does, and that's what TYT does with their race baiting videos. So here is an example of the kind of thing that they would critique mainstream media for, but they're doing it themselves. This is really, really, you're bad at your job. Anyone who is shocked that Charlie Kirk is pushing against FISA, you were born yesterday, you know nothing about politics. Like, where have you been in the last, few years with this whole Trump saga? I'm not here for attention, money, or fame. I'm not here to cape for one team or the other or to fence it. I'm here to tell you the truth like no one else will on this platform. If you appreciate that, if you're one of the small percentage of people that actually want to hear the truth as opposed to just be validated, as opposed to people who are just looking for content to make them feel good about their ideas. If you want to be challenged on your ideas rather than pandered to, or watching videos that are constantly attacking your political opponents and being silent on your side, if you appreciate living in reality, click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell, and comment below, right? The FISA program was used, they argue, to go after Trump.
Any American that would see this document would feel as though people like Rod Rosenstein and Bruce Orr need to be fired immediately.
Wait a minute, this actually happened from our Justice Department and this FBI. That's how serious this is.
And over a year of taxpayer dollars and precious time when Americans could have been informed about what this president has done for veterans, for tax.
Right? And before we go into that, let's establish a fundamental piece of the ideology of these folks on the right, like Charlie Kirk, right? Their issue is with things that go against their side. That is a fundamental principle, right? You can do all kinds of craziness to people on the other side, and that's fine, right? You will not see Charlie Kirk making a big fuss about how the left is being treated unfairly, the FBI is doing things they shouldn't be doing, what it is. You're not going to hear a peep from him, right? But let there be anything that even remotely seems like, or could be made to seem like, it's against conservatives. That's a fundamental thing of clowns like Charlie Kirk, right? So anyone that is in this political space in terms of news media, and you do commentary on the right wing media more specifically, you would be aware of this concept, right? You would know this is nothing new. They always do this. They only have issues when things are applied in their direction, right? Like all this freedom of speech stuff is because they have a lot of bad faith actors that are out there pushing out lies and misinformation and just saying whatever to get views and clicks. And then they get in trouble because they put out some very dangerous stuff. They get in trouble because of that. And then all of a sudden, they want to come and say, you shouldn't be messing with our speech. You should be free to say what you want to say, and we're for freedom, and people should, right? But if the left is being suppressed, right? If their stuff is getting shut down, They don't have an issue with it because they don't really care about freedom of speech. Everything is all about the tribe. If you're talking about politics, if that's your job, you should know that in America, that is the fundamental concept of our politics. Tribe above all else, especially on the right, right? They're so much into tribe that they will put tribe above religion, family, above country, above pretty much everything else. There's no value that supersedes I must be loyal to my tribe. For example, you're not allowed to be on the right and critique Donald Trump, right? If you critique Donald Trump, you're a rhino. Even mildly critiquing Donald Trump, it's not allowed, right? Nobody in the GOP can critique Donald Trump and get away with it, right? You're gonna suffer some kind of consequence, right? You must be loyal to the tribe. So that being said, FISA was used to go after Trump. So therefore, as I said, the fundamental thing, anything that goes against their side, that's what they have an issue. The issue is not with the thing, it's that the thing is being used against them. So that was the talking point. FISA, the FBI and FISA go after the campaign.
So all those folks, all those outlets who have those screaming Russia graphics or screaming graphics about shenanigans during the campaign last year, they ought to dust them off and we ought to see the memo. I've not seen the memo. I can't comment on it. I'm not in Congress. But in the interest of transparency and accountability and the interest of fair play here.
Yeah, but people want to know if there's going to be criminal prosecution here, Kellyanne. Where's the accountability? We're in America. If we cannot trust the FBI, agencies like the IRS.
So Trump is saying it. His allies are saying it. Therefore, right-wing media, they're amplifying it. FISA. So after all these years of talking about how bad FISA is, not because FISA is bad, but because we went after Trump with it, right? They're still talking about it, right? I mean, I'm not going to get into why they're still talking about it, but, if you keep talking about something over and over again, it's pretty much, I think, at this point, the name FISA has been solidified as evil, right? But we got to go back to the origins of where that came from. The oranges. But we got to go back to the origins of where that came from. Prior to it being used against Trump, these same people complaining about FISA were for FISA. FISA was used to go after people they didn't like or had an issue with, right? Then it's fine, right? Go after Trump, all of a sudden, oh, FISA, right? When the police are going after people they don't like, right? Oh, support the blue, black the blue, we support law enforcement, right? But when law enforcement comes after them, all of a sudden, defund the police, defund everything. And the thing about it is, Young Turks has talked about this before. They're aware of this dynamic. So why, and it's not the first time I've seen them say they're shocked that a right-winger is going after FISA. Why wouldn't they be going after FISA? FISA was used to go after their god king, Donald Trump. Where were you? Where have you been? I don't understand how you do this for a living, all day in and day out. I'm sure your social media feeds are so tuned in with the stuff that you talk about. You're putting out the videos, you put out the content, you're surrounded by this. This is your entire life. How can you then sit there and say you're shocked that Charlie Kirk is pushing out a major right-wing talking point that started with the thing being used to go after Trump? What? This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe to my side bell. Be well. Holy shit.